You logged in? You seem to be. It's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise. Have an invocation from Linda, please.
If you'll bow your heads, I'll pray for us. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for being here among us. Lord, we are so aware of our world today and all that's going on. And Lord, we're grateful for a place we can live and be blessed to have the freedoms to gather this way and to handle the future of our children. We know that that's a blessing that not everyone is afforded, and we know that blessing comes from you. I pray, Lord, that you would just give us clarity of thought tonight as we seek to do what we feel is best for our students. I pray, Lord, that you would prepare the way for them so that they can live in a free world, in a free country, when they are adults and using their education to profit them. I pray, Lord, for each person here and what they give to our district and our students. I pray that you would bless them for their efforts. I pray that we would be agreeable tonight even when we don't agree on things, and that we would make wise decisions. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Show me the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. May be seated. Our first item of business is to approve the minutes from last month's meeting. Look at those, I'd entertain a motion to approve those and waive the reading of it.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Ray.
I'll second.
Second by Becky. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Recognitions?
All right, our first, we have a couple of awards tonight of 226 awards. Columbia, Missouri ISD's 225 square miles. So the 226 award goes to individuals that go above and beyond and do a little bit extra. So our director of HRPR, Wendy Tho, would you like to make the announcements for tonight?
We do. We have 2 students that are going to be recognized tonight. I'll let Ms. Lucerio go first.
Okay.
All right, you want to come down and join me, Lexi? All right, tonight for the 226, we have Miss Lexi Hobble. She's an 8th grade student at West Brazos Junior High, and I made a list of all of the things that she is currently participating in so that I wouldn't miss out on anything. She is the student council president. She has served on the National Junior Honor Society for 2 years. She is in roustabout athletics, playing volleyball, track, doing the shot put and the discus, tennis and golf. Outside of school, she participates in softball. She's in honors band and is currently holding first chair, playing the flute. She's in honors math and reading, got all A's honor roll, perfect attendance, and enjoys getting service hours with the Hmong ladies making mugs and doing crafts. She takes dance classes at Janus School of Dance, and she's an avid churchgoer at St. John the Apostle Catholic Church. So in her spare time, she likes spending time with friends, and she would like to go to school at Baylor College of Medicine, where she wants to be a physical therapist when she gets out of school. So as you can see, she is participating in all of the extracurricular and holding those high expectations. And so with the nomination that came in from our teachers, they said that Lexi embodies what we want a roustabout to be. So Lexi, here is your 226 award, and thank you for being a roustabout. Do y'all want to get pictures? Yeah, we do. Excellent.
Yeah, you're in it. Sorry. There we go. Perfect. I got one.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
I'm proud of you.
You must only get about 2 hours of sleep a night with all the stuff you do.
Golf team's getting better, brother.
Okay, our next 226 is from the high school. Mr. Kinney will present.
All right, perfect. I'd like to introduce one of our seniors, Leela Irwin. We're honored to recognize Leela as our 226 award recipient. Leela is a senior who's active in all aspects of our campus community. She's the colonel of the Dancing Dolls and is a member of the All-State Dance Team. Congratulations, by the way. She's an avid runner as she participates in both cross country and track. To add to her resume, she's part of the state barbecue cook-off team where she contributes her award-winning beans. She's committed to her studies and plans to attend Kilgore College and be a line member of the Rangerettes. Leela gives back to the community through volunteer work and passing along her passion for dance by teaching classes for preschool and elementary students at Janus School of Dance. Leela Irwin absolutely represents the 226 going above and beyond, and she represents CHS as being the epitome of what a roughneck is and roughneck pride. So congratulations.
You're good, I'm zoomed in. You're good.
Yeah, more close.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Ms. Stubb, is that it for recognition? All right. Well, two good role models there. Outstanding. Outstanding. So just, I felt compelled to say something right now because it came up as I did my tour of campuses this week. I don't know if you've paid attention to what's happening in Columbia Missouri ISD, but female students are doing really, really well. If you look every year, Mr. Miller does a great job of analyzing things that happen in this district, and we look at our, every year in the graduating class, we look at the top 10, the top 10%, and it seems like for the last 7 or 8 years that if there's 30 kids, 20 of them are female. And so the standard that young girls can thrive and succeed, I think is something that's happening here. At the same time, we're having conversations with the boys about, what's going on. But that's outstanding, and I think that speaks a lot to the community and the parents and the support that those kids have at home. So outstanding. Even of 1 year, out of our top, and this was about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 30 of our top 33 graduates, 32 were female. And so when you see statistics like that, it tells you something good's happening. So congratulations to you two young ladies. Very proud to be a part of that. Yeah. All right, so next up is campus communications, I believe. Those of you that came in and you're looking for, if you want to stay, we're going to do some good things tonight, but if you're looking for a time to leave, now's perfect. And thank y'all for being here. All right, so we do have campus communications, and first up is Farrell Elementary Principal Cody.
All right, so there have been a lot of wonderful things that have taken place since our last board meeting. We started, our last board meeting, we started with inviting you to our Red Ribbon Week parade. So this is some of the things that happened at our Red Ribbon Week parade. It happened at our Red Ribbon Week parade. Let's try saying that real fast 5 times. Red Ribbon Week parade was on Tegan's birthday, so she walked with the sign that said she was having a parade for her birthday. So that's Tegan with her sign. It's her birthday today. And then the next pictures, I believe, are going to be from our book character day and then our 50th day of school dress up. So teachers, we invited teachers to dress up as the 50 style for the 50th day of school.
All right, next up, Columbia High School, Principal Kinney.
First, we'll look at the demolition progress. They've got every building down. I'll think everything's down. Right now, we have a pond back there due to the rain. You can see that they're starting to flatten out the pad there where the parking lot used to be. Even today, they were still working on it in the muck. So progress is being made, and it looks a lot different back there. So we like to see that progress. Next, all things going on, we know that football and volleyball have been knocked out of the playoffs, but now we're moving into basketball. The girls are 1-3 to start, but they're playing really well. We're seeing a lot of improvement. They play tonight at home against Santa Fe, so Coach Jones is hoping to get another win. And then the boys' season kicks off tonight at Columbus. Coach Cox said they're looking for a big win tonight as the team they're playing is still in football. So they have some basketball players not playing, so they're going to take advantage of that and get a win tonight. The Dancing Dolls had their Barbie extravaganza or whatever it was called, where they had little girls come in, they dressed up as Barbies and did their hair, did their makeup as a fundraiser for their New York trip. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. And then we had a lot of people compete in FFA LREs. So they did a great job there. Next slide, just some other things going on campus. The marching band finished the highest that they finished since 2006. They were 13th out of 36 bands. One place from moving on to the finals. They take the top 12 to the finals. So they just missed that, but as I said, that's the best they finished since 2006. 3 young ladies went in and did congressional debate tournament. So they placed 8th, 12th, and 14th, so we're very proud of them. And then last night we had our NHS induction where we inducted 50 new students, 4 seniors and 46 juniors.
Wow.
And then just wanted to shout out for our teacher of the month was Kyle Key. He put students first and does what it needs to do to help that band be successful and lead to that 13th place.
Just curious on the pictures of the demolition. Was that water from rain or was that one of the pipes that broke?
Retention pond right now, so we're doing, yes, a little bit of both.
All right, West Brazos Junior High, Principal Osorio.
All right, so we had our veterans program this last Friday. We had record numbers of veterans come out, so we were very excited about that. That is held by our NJHS. They put a lot of work into that. And we had the twirlers and the dancers participate in the band and the choir. On the right, we had a certificate celebration for students who had 90% or better attendance, trying to push that attendance and get our students to turn in their notes if they've been out sick. So doing that in the cafeteria so that they can get that recognition from their peers. And then we had All Region Choir. These are the students who made All Region for West Brazos Junior High, and they also had their fall choir performance. We held Red Ribbon Week, and we had lots of fun costumes and great participation from our students. They also, the 6th grade art, made the flyers to put around the campus and decorate for Red Ribbon Week. In the bottom right, you see the band had a meet and greet at West Brazos Junior High. Our CHS band came over and did their performance before they went off to competition, and then they had a meet and greet with the instruments that they play, and the students really enjoyed that, getting to talk to the high school students. And then we have our Teachers of the Week. We had Miss Starnes, and we had Miss Hackett, Miss Lindley, and Miss Martin all this month. And then our history projects on the right, where our students came up with metaphors. They put a lot of work into that. And then our grading period 1 award ceremonies were a success. I believe that's it.
Nice. Let's come to the elementary, Principal Bolton.
I wanted to start just by showing you all the participation that we had in Fair Art this year, with lots of ribbons being awarded to our young artists. I have such a passion and love for art, so it just thrills me to no end to see them really flourishing their art under Miss Copeland's tutelage. Also wanted to share with you some of my favorite pumpkins from our family engagement activity that we do every year, where they get the kids involved in decorating pumpkins. I especially loved the pumpkin in a tub on the right with the bubbles. She's bathing. And then in the center, that is, of course, Mount Rushmore, made from pumpkins. Best of show right there. We also have been hosting Thanksgiving lunches for parents this year. And sometimes in the past that's been challenging for us because we just don't have a lot of extra room in our cafeteria for parents to sit. So they've had to sit outside, and I don't know what it is about that time of year. It's usually kind of rainy and sometimes very cold. So we thought outside the box this year, and we've set up many, like 15 tables and over 100 chairs in our gymnasium to host Thanksgiving lunches, and it has been a huge hit. We've gotten great feedback from it, lots of participation from our families. They've really enjoyed coming on campus and eating Thanksgiving lunches with their students this week. And last night, I was so proud of Miss Copeland once again for our music program the fifth graders put on for our Veterans Day program, which we rescheduled before that playoff game last Thursday, which we were happy to do. And we were so happy last night. We had nearly 350 people in attendance at our Veterans program last night, and the kids did a wonderful job. We had some solos this year too, which was new, we've not had in the past, and they did really, really well. I was very proud. And that's it.
Thank you. Wild Peach Elementary. McCarthy.
So we've been busy as well. Last Friday, we had our Veterans Day program. All 3 grade levels participated in the program, and our current enrollment is 300, and we had 295 guests registered. So, anyway, we also had 144 veterans pictures submitted for our program. And on the right-hand side, we have 2 veterans that belong to the Wild Peach staff, Lieutenant Danielle Kovach and Sergeant David Raymond. And in the bottom left picture, Lieutenant Kovach's husband is also active duty, and he came in his BDU and read a story to the kids and then let them touch the flak vest and helmet, and they were just amazed at how heavy that stuff was. They had a great time touching and feeling. And the number one question was, how many guns do you have? We have a teacher who is fighting cancer, and we had some staff members who organized a fundraiser and organized getting t-shirts together. And the funds from the fundraiser will support her family as they pay for parking while she undergoes surgery and treatment. And we've got our shirts to support her, and we'll wear them tomorrow when she has her surgery. Then, of course, we had Red Ribbon Week, and it culminated on Halloween, and we did our pumpkin activities. Small children think that when you change color, you change what happens. So we did pumpkin investigations, and you can see the pre-K teachers and the pre-K students lined up outside, and they used different colors in their pumpkin foam. And amazingly enough, they all foamed the same regardless of color. That's a scientific investigation for a 4-year-old. Does color affect the reaction? And on that day, we also had our good character parade, and you see some of our good characters parading. And that's it. There's a whole lot more that goes on, but that was it.
I have to say, y'all had some excellent pumpkins as well.
Oh, yes, we did.
Contest.
We had a rough pumpkin.
Yeah. So my favorite was they had turned a pumpkin into a roughneck football helmet. The detail was amazing. The detail was amazing. Good deal. All right, are we done?
That's neat.
All right, thank y'all so much.
I will say, from watching the last 6 months or this last school year, it seems like we're getting more family participation than we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. 20 years ago, it seemed like everybody went to Wild Peach and did things in other schools, but then it kind of died off. But it's kudos to y'all for whatever, all the things y'all are doing to get them involved again. And it's good to see our community back with our schools. So thank y'all very much for that.
Some PTOs have started up. It's good.
We're going to skip reports for a second. We have Dramala and BBK in them here. We're going to go down to action item number 3 to consider. Oh, sin to be heard. I'm sorry. Do we have anybody sin to be heard?
No, sir.
I'm sorry. Okay. I didn't see you. Thank you so much, Vice President. Yeah. Thanks for being on top of it. Part of it. Now we will skip reports and go to number 3 on the business item. To consider the approval of proposal received from Dravalla Construction on November 1st, 2023. Columbia High School renovation is part of the 2022 November bond.
All right, so tonight you're going to hear a presentation to bring us to the final piece of that package 3. We split it into package 1. That equipment's been ordered. Package 2's happening right now, right across the street of what Mr. Kenny's showing you. And then package 3 will be for the remainder of the project and the largest project. So just introducing everyone to you again, I believe is Seth going to start this off with his program. So you have Seth Smith from Ramallah. He's been here with us at each meeting. He'll be taking you through that. And then, of course, you have Virgil Gay, and Jonathan Pertuit, Sophia Dusick from EDK. So I would think that we're going to listen to Seth. He's going to take us through the program, kind of take us through the proposals. Virgil's got, I got some information in your folder from Virgil that he'll talk about that. And then if you have any questions as well, Virgil's here to help you with the whole process. So with that, I guess, Seth, you're on.
Commandeered some table space.
So
Jackie, scoot over, let him have some.
No, you're good.
Jackie's not here.
Join me over here. I'm by myself.
As some of we've talked about a little bit, I presented this to you guys back in July. This is basically a very, very, very high level sequence and schedule of kind of how the things are going to play out. I've come here to, one, give you an update of this, and then obviously two, talk about the update on the cost. So I'm going to start with cost a little bit, and Virgil's going to do a lot more detail and with a lot more information that has more to do with than just construction. But obviously, you guys know, I look back today, this process started with us. The RFP for us was issued 1 year ago in 4 days. So it's been about a year for pre-construction. 11/18 of 22 is when you guys issued the RFP to bring a CMAR on board. So it's been about a year. That's a long process. It's obviously a challenging process to get from where we were on day one to where we are. We're a long way from being done, but this is a big, big milestone. To have a plan to put a building of this magnitude in the middle of campus while keeping it occupied is a big challenge from a safety standpoint, a cost standpoint, and a logistics standpoint to make sure everything's operational. So we very much appreciate Justin, who's somewhere, doesn't want to talk, I know, but he's been very, very, very helpful for us visitors coming on board and helping us out. Hopefully not hit too many water lines. Yeah. But
at least they weren't gas lines, thank you.
Yes, sir. So throughout the design process, we identified obviously some ways to cut some time. We've managed to stay on that track to where we're delivering the gym in November of next year. And as a result, that's forced us to package up 3 different packages in order to make sure that we get the equipment here on time, we stay on schedule and kind of run the construction phase and the design phase concurrently in some aspects. Now that time has come to an end, and I know that the members of this board have been very, very concerned about allowing us to do that, and we very much appreciate your faith in that, because you put a leap of faith in us in saying that, you know, we're going to go ahead and approve these millions of dollars, but you got to stay within this scope, within this budget. And we're here today to tell you that we did that. This whole team did that, and has managed to stay on schedule and come up with a beautiful design, and this is going to continue to be a great project for you guys. So we very much appreciate you allowing us to be part of your team. We took bids on November the 1st for package number 3. The job came in at about $54 million for package 3, which total sums you up to about 63.6 million, which is about 1.6 million under your construction budget. Virgil's going to talk a little bit more about your overall budget, but on our side of the table, that's about where you're at from a very high level view. Concerning these slides here, I'm going to run back through those just to kind of give a refresher to everybody. I know I talked about this back in July, but we'll do it one more time. What you see here, and hopefully everybody can see, is the very first part of the project, which has already happened. Us coming in and demoing buildings D and E, which were a classroom building and the competition gym. That's already happened, and now we've fenced off everywhere where the new building is going to go, and we're pending your approval tonight. We'll continue on with the construction of the new building. Once that building is complete, Then we're gonna come in and demo buildings G, F, and H and put new parking. Can you go to the next slide? So this is a very, very short, very high-level schedule that talks about big milestones of where we're at throughout construction. We are here, which this is the exact same document I showed you in July. Foundations are scheduled to start 11:15. That is tomorrow. They are out there ready to punch holes. Now, that doesn't mean the drill truck's gonna actually start punching holes. Once you guys approve it, there's a little bit of material grab, but that process will start tomorrow. So this schedule has been maintained and we've managed to keep on schedule, which ultimately results in the complete gym in November, the rest of the building in summer of 25, and then us out of your hair by New Year's of 26. Next slide, please. Just an overview of what this looks like, or used to look like now, but what our construction limits look like. Obviously your courtyard, the new area for the new building. We did have this in July noted to be our laydown area. Obviously that didn't work out. So we relocated that laydown area to over there across the road, which has already been set up and ready to go. Next slide, please. This is what we'll look like, excuse me, fall of next year. We'll hand this over to you, and then we'll continue to utilize this area, and then we'll take over this area and start demoing the practice gym. Next slide, please. Okay, one small change that has happened since the last time we discussed this, in the proximity of the existing practice gym and the new gym is a little bit closer than we anticipated. I think there's only like 3 or 4 feet between them. That is too small of a space for us to build this canopy. So Sophia and Jonathan and their team have kind of made some adjustments to allow us to come in after the fact, adjusted the design, allow us to come in after the fact. After we hand this building off to you, we'll just keep this area closed off, just this canopy area, so we can come in and finish this after we hand it over and then demo this. So it's just a very small adjustment to what we talked about in July. Next one, please, sir. Again, once we hand you over the whole building, we'll come in, demo the big long F, okay, and then the dance room, existing dance H, okay, and then we're going to come in with paving and one more, and I'll finally stop talking. Then you'll end up with parking here and parking here. So as long as everything stays on schedule and we don't get too much rain, we should be completely out of your hair by January of 26. That's really, really very, very close to the same exact thing that I told you guys back in July with a few minor, small adjustments. I just wanted to refresh everybody and kind of see let everybody know where we're on track.
Good.
Any questions on my side? Otherwise, it's their turn.
So when we bid it, the bid was pretty much with the design we looked at. I mean, I know they had preliminary drawings and 50%, 75. That still flowed through from this concept to what we actually did.
Yes.
Okay.
The scope of work has gone largely unchanged.
That's what I would guess the terminology.
The finished product that you're going to see is what they've been showing.
Those estimates along the way were the assurance that we were on the right path. Bids came out to validate that as well.
And I'll put out that we haven't reduced our expectations in any bit.
No.
Everything we've asked for, we've probably actually added a little extra to it to make it a little bit of a nicer facility. So I feel really good about that.
And speaking of the bids,
so you have in your folder, you have a staple packet. It's got a letter from Virgil and Associates on front. There's a letter from Virgil, and then there's some financial information behind that for you.
yeah, and basically the letter is just a recommendation for approval of this GMP3 amendment. Contract that we have going here. But I did want to come before you and talk about on November 1st, when the project was bid, Virgil and Associates had some representation there. The bids went smooth. Jamala held a very smooth process. So I think you had pretty much robust subcontractor participation, which was very good. to the tune of, at this point in time, the bids were about 1.7 million under what we were anticipating, as you stated earlier. And Dramala, as part of that, is going to do about 2.5 million of self-performed work of the 50-something million, which is a good number, but an appropriate number, standard in the industry. Normally, that about contractors will do about that amount of self-performed work. Let's see, in looking at your sheet, basically, the variance from the overall total project to $79 million is about $2.2 million, thereabout. And the key to remember in all of this is even with that variance of the overall, compiling the contingencies in GMP 1, 2, and 3, that's a little over $3.5 million of contingency that's still embedded in all of these numbers that we have as a hedge against future things happening. And also, there's also about 1.8 million in allowances that they'll be rolling out as we go through this thing. So we're in great shape. We're on schedule. The money's looking good, and we think we have a very strong hedge against future things coming up. We still have some demolition to do. Just past demolition, we had some things with fiber and water and gas, like you talked about.
One of the biggest issues, if get me right, Justin, is the early surveys didn't show those things, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're running tracing just on the ground, right?
Yeah, those are not shown at that point in time.
Your ground penetrating radar did not detect everything that you needed to know.
Right, but there's no tracing on those things like.
Oh, yes, correct.
Right, so. Yeah.
So basically, that's pretty much where we are. We're in great shape to go on this thing, to continue on. And I just wanted to go ahead and recommend that we approve the GMP 3 so we can continue on.
My question is, in the original first proposal y'all did, when you did your estimates, there was 5.1 million in contingencies and then a little bit in allowances. I don't think it was 1.5. Now we're at 3.5 in contingencies, and you're saying 1.5 in allowances.
1.8.
1.8. So what happened in the process where those contingencies dropped so much?
Well, it's not a matter of so much. Number one, they have not sacrificed any contingency in their pricing of the project from a bid standpoint. But what happens in this process, early on, very early on, when you have design contingencies in there, and as the projects are bid, those design contingencies roll over into funding what the bids are and that kind of thing. That's sort of the total project. And that's really the only difference that you're going to see. The contingencies.
What do you mean rolled over prior? To me, a contingency is something that's held until we decide that we need to use it.
Well,
and so I don't see if it's originally budgeted in the beginning, there was no 5.1, that those would go away. Now, I understand that should go down a little bit because the price of the project went down. It's based off a percentage of the price of the project.
Yeah.
We actually don't carry a design contingency when we bring you a GMP.
Yeah.
We don't carry one. The reason we carry one at the beginning of this process is because we're putting together an estimate based on a very, very limited amount of information because the design hasn't happened yet. So we're making a tremendous amount of assumptions. You've seen our estimates where thousands of lines long. Obviously, not all that information is in PBK's documents when they hand you a 7-sheet SD package. We don't know. We're guessing at the size of the beams. We're guessing at the size of the wire. We're guessing at the size of the duct, the tonnage of the chillers. I mean, I could go through each division and tell you what we're guessing at every turn. So there's a design contingency put into the early estimates that as we get to a design that we're comfortable with, like we are now, we take it out. That's why you have less contingency now. And thankfully, you have come in at under what we estimated. So it's almost like that has gone away. In some instances, in some districts, that does not happen because we made, incorrect assumptions where, that may be a larger wire, maybe larger beams, maybe thicker glass. That's why that design contingency is in there during the pre-construction phase only.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can accept that. So theoretically, when we had like $1.3 million in design contingency in the beginning, when I look at the price came in instead of being 2.2 million or whatever below, that contingency went into, it was needed to
Yeah.
make the bid, so.
Say
And it's not a bid, because we did come in under, I'm not griping
No.
anything, I'm just trying to process.
Say I underestimated how much linear foot of duct that the HVAC guys were gonna come, maybe I'm $300,000 short. Well, that design contingency helps make up for that.
So we still have the owner's contingency and the contractor's
Absolutely.
contingency, that's what we're looking at, that's still in.
Absolutely.
Okay, because those are the big numbers.
Yeah, and those are
Okay.
generally the contingency numbers that I'm talking about that I've stated.
And I'm fine with that, I just wanted to be clear in my mind.
Yeah, once we get to a GMP, there's no reason for us to carry that design.
No, it makes sense. No,
That's reserving money for no reason.
I did talk to Matt this afternoon, and he felt, I know he spoke with you, and he said he feels comfortable with the amount of contingency we have out there and things like that, so I have no problem. I was just trying to calculate in my mind how the process works.
Okay.
Be my last bond, I'm pretty damn sure, but I just wanted to understand the last bond. You know, I didn't want to deceive the public when they ask me questions, and so I have a way to understand this and do that.
The critical thing is the design contingency is only there during pre-construction.
That makes sense, now that you say that. I mean, I didn't know what they were set up for. If you have 90% drawings and you're bidding it, then you don't have the worries anymore, because they actually have what they're bidding.
Yeah, we will get notification if we have to start using some of the other ones.
So yes, in the event that you guys change the scope or we find something that was unexpected where a design contingency, or excuse me, where a contingency needs to be tapped, we absolutely do documentation, we provide backup, we ask for the design team's approval, Virgil's approval, and your approval. Look, we're not just gonna spend your money without your knowledge.
So our approval's me. So technically, right now, we have a meeting set up every 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
And so we made, so in package 2, as an example, with all of the things that are going on, as of right now, our tech, y'all's guys and our tech guys are over there rewiring fiber at the high school, rerouting from beginning to end for the whole campus. Unexpected, right? And so one of the things is it's gonna cost us a little bit of money in contingencies right now. We've already met and signed off and seen what the scope of the work is. So it's gonna cost us a little money, but the nice piece is that when we get to package 3 and when they get to the fiber part of that package, it's gonna save us some money.
Right.
Because we've already moved, we've already established a new route, we've already, the new main conduit and things like that, so.
So was the, clarify that, so when we get to 3 on that part, was that total part bid into that?
No, sir.
Just the piece that needs to be done, so instead of being $1 million, it's only 500,000, we took contingencies out for 500,000 to get to the million worth to do that, does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. To be honest, I am not familiar with the exact amounts.
I'm not using dollars, I'm just saying.
The answer is the total amount of the contingency use right now is gonna be for everything. Water, sewer, pipes, fiber is gonna be around 350,000, correct?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Is that coming out of the 3.5, or is that already
That's coming
after
out,
the 3.5?
that's coming out of the GM2 contingency allowance that we have set
Of
up.
the package number 2.
So there's an allowance in each one of these GMPs for unforeseen subsurface conditions.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
So that 300 is coming out of the unknown conditions?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the big thing to remember on all of this, just to kind of, I live by a mantra when dealing with contractors and architects, and I'm sort of have my owner's hat on now. Whatever we call the line item, owner's contingency, contractor contingency, doesn't really matter. The overarching thing is it's all our money.
Right.
And they understand that, and they have to come through us to spend it.
Right.
I would just like something with the total, and then every time we take something out, so the board, I know he's approving it, but I would like to see something so we know. So we don't get to the end and we think, okay, we got $3.5 million and we used $1 million on there, you know?
Every time we do it, everything's updated. The whole program's updated. So every time we meet in 2 weeks, if something happened.
I just want to make sure the board sees it, because I know you talked that they were doing it, but not that it's a problem, but I just didn't know the dollar amount. I don't think any board member just so we can kind of see and have that in the back.
Yeah, that information is always there, and it's really embedded down into the pay applications that we begin to pay them. So we don't even pay them until we are sure what it's for.
Yeah, we could build that into our reports when we meet at every board meeting. That's simple.
Yeah, just so we.
Yeah, we don't have to do anything extra. We'll just make
When
sure.
we did the junior high, I mean, we had a good chance, and you kind of did that. When we got to the end, we had X amount of dollars left, and we said, okay, let's do this, and this with that. So
And
that's,
as we get to that process, we'll give you reports at every board meeting that have that information.
cool.
Hang on.
All right.
You happy with all the subs you got?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We do.
I'm excited. I think y'all did a great job. The whole process has been very nice, very smooth. I was talking to somebody from Van Vleck last weekend before last, actually. They were asking how it was going and everything. And I said, I think it's great. And very, very pleased, so.
I haven't heard though from the public really like good or bad. Like it's been crickets on my end. I haven't heard.
I haven't either. I think, I don't know if they trust us all the way, but I think once they start seeing constructions, when they start asking.
No news is good.
I don't think they have a clue.
So it was, I was having, as one of our meetings, Mr. Kenny and I were talking. So if you weren't here for some of the slab demolition, they have this, it's a piece of iron about as big as this table, about as big around as this table, but it weighs 9,000 pounds, and they lift that thing 20 feet up in the air and let it go. And when that was happening, the whole town of West Columbia shakes. But as we were talking about that, didn't realize it, is that we actually have some kids that are in a high school right now that went through 1.5 years, 2 years of construction at the junior high. And they're at the high school, and they're going through another 2 years. So 4 out of their 6 years of secondary level is in the middle of construction. So we kind of call this an ongoing, Mary said, it's an ongoing science experiment. So
when they get to college and they graduate with construction science degrees, I need their names.
Exactly.
I need their names.
Graduate with architecture.
Keep them over here.
So what we're looking for would be a package 3 approval of $54,228,679, correct?
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second by Ray, all in favor? Any opposed? Carries.
All right, congratulations.
We're gonna take a minute to sign some stuff, is that what we need?
Yes, sir. I need to sign 3 documents right quick, and then we'll be good to go.
Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's the big guy tonight? Y'all letting him stay at home?
He had another obligation.
Oh, more important, I think we kicked to the
No,
curb.
it's
I
his
see how he does this now.
He was given a pass, it's his grandson.
Yeah, we'll give him a pass on that one. We don't even try to compete with grandkids. We live
Got this one.
His last game of the season, he said. So.
Uh-oh.
Oh, definitely.
So Seth, one for you.
Yes, sir.
One time we said hello.
One for Sophie.
One for Sophie, and if you'd give the other one to Julie right there on the table, end of the table right there. Perfect. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
How are things doing with the supply chain right now? Do you see any problems as far as your construction timeline and?
So with us doing those early packages, I think we're okay on equipment. I did hear today that there's mineral wool shortages for our cavity wall insulation, but we're gonna get on that. So that shouldn't be a big issue with us on this project. It more is gonna impact like renovation work and things like that. But things have started to kind of finally level out a little bit. Prices are not going down, but they are starting to settle. And I don't know how long that's going to last though in this market. There are so many bonds that have been passed, and there's almost too much work for the amount of subcontractors that are used to doing schools in Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas, where you're gonna start seeing people from out of state come in, and you gotta be real careful when that happens, because there have been horror stories over the years of things like that happening. But just gotta keep a mindful eye, which I don't have to tell y'all are doing that. So
We're talking with Matt today, I will say from a PBK standpoint, when we started talking about the bonding, y'all came up with the pricing, and we were starting a new chapter in our country's economy with possible rates, supply shortage, this and that, and the escalation, inflation things y'all put in. very good estimation on y'all's part I mean, because in the 08, 011 range, when a lot of people did that and things were in a similar situation, a lot of people were short with money and did come out and even a low environment, whenever things took off, there was a lot of people in that, and y'all know we were very scared of that point. Right. That we would not be able to do what we presented to them. And so thank y'all very much for the way y'all do things, and thank Jamala and Virgil for the process y'all done.
All right, thank you very much.
I can sleep well tonight, knowing this is behind us and it's in there. So the rest we can deal with. Y'all be safe going home on these wet roads.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Appreciate it.
So next we'll go back to reports.
Correct.
And we start off with maintenance.
Well, as mentioned, we had quite a few water problems with the high school. I'm happy to report that over the weekend, they have made some transition. Now all those underground water lines have been deactivated, and everything is now running overhead to the best of our abilities. So hopefully no more interruptions with that. Also, during that process, they have changed over some fiber optic lines running in here and there and everywhere else in between. Technology this afternoon has went in and replaced all the thingamabobs and gigogs that let this new fiber work. And I just got the update on that transition has been complete.
It's working?
As far as I know, I got the email, so I'm guessing.
Well, it's over there. You're on the hubs over here.
Okay. So, that took place just a few moments ago, so I can't verify it myself yet because I'm here, but that's my understanding is working.
Awesome.
Additionally, I'm working with a few people on some baseball field upgrades, some lighting issues, some infield and outfield concerns, along with maybe some scoreboards and some fencing. That is all in the works, and I don't want to try to give you too much at this time without having some final details, but in the future, that's coming. Just my phone calls and kind of getting, my answers have been getting slow coming back, so I'm not as prepared to give you as much information on as I can, but I will answer any questions about it.
Is that why I got the email today about throwing out the first pitch of the first district game this year?
Yeah, if you want people to see you, we need a light up there.
Man, I forgot what I was going to say. I just kind of imagining that.
So, speaking of that, so one of the things that happened, it's probably been, I think it's last 2008, the last time we addressed the lighting at Renfro Field. And at that time, basically, we used the same poles, same wiring, and we just replaced the candles up top. We're to a point where, I don't know if winds moved them around, but when you do what's the
candle power
meter, when you walk around, we've got some dark spots again. So whatever that is, whether it's just the bulbs don't burn as bright as they used to, but we've got to address that. And so,
are you looking at replacing with LED or?
Yes, that's my goal.
So speaking of that, you and I have a phone call Friday morning.
Correct.
About a possible program that the state would help us.
Correct. That's coming. We're going to have that conversation on Friday, and hopefully that's going to be beneficial to us.
Right.
It will ease some of that those burning pains when it comes to this project.
The other big thing we have is the wood fencing at Renfro. Big strong wind will blow it down right now. One of our issues is that we do have, because of how the drainage works, right? Because our outfield fence goes right up against other property. And so the way our field drains is that technically, when it rains hard, the water's kept on our side. And so that outfield fence, the ground underneath gets moist. And what we have now is our supports to the wood fence will not hold that wood fence up. And so one of the things that Justin had been looking at is possibly going back in with metal rather than just a concrete and wood, because that wood deteriorates and rots. And so the other thing we're looking at is possibly going back over the fence, much like the softball field. The softball fence is an 8-foot black coated chain link.
Correct.
And so we're working on getting bids on the 10-foot coated chain link for that, and then we could go with windscreen. So we're looking at that possibility as well. But those things are probably going to have to be done pretty quick. And so,
Just curious, I didn't realize that, I knew we replaced the fence, but, and I understand the water issue right now with those things. How is the fence itself besides just the supports?
We're replacing a lot of the slats or pickets pretty regularly.
Are you?
Matter of fact, you go out there now, you can see where there's some.
It's a very pretty, it was a very pretty fence. I like wood. I didn't know if we could like put a 6x6 behind it if the fence was decent to hold or not, but if it's not, I have no problem with it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm anti-chain link fence, but gosh, it sure looks a lot nicer with the wood fence.
well, and again, it's gonna, neither one of these things are gonna be in Justin's budget.
Right.
No.
So I think right now we're looking at 75,000 versus 45,000 is what we're looking at.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring multiple options to you. Chain link, 8-foot, chain link, 10-foot, back wooden post with, or excuse me, wooden fence with metal posts.
Could you check into a composite?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a one and done, or at least for 20 years or so, only 30
I can
years.
see if that's a viable option.
What size metal post would you be using on a wood fence, you think?
3-inch schedule 80.
3 inch? That'll hold that?
Mhm.
Yes. It's pretty stout. And it's gonna be coated, so the longevity of it far superior to the wood, even though treated.
Yeah, any of that ground contact stuff with concrete around it, it just rots.
That will outlast any of us that year.
And that's with wood plank still, metal poles, wood plank?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know composite's expensive, but, I mean, you think from your side of it, that would be something better to look into? Be less maintenance?
6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what kind of maintenance is involved in a composite. I've never dealt with it myself, so that's an unanswered question at this point.
Are you talking to the same fence builders to give both quotes?
Yes. It's the same one that did all of our fencing around the elementaries several years back.
Just to throw my 2 cents as a baseball player, if we have to go with chain link, I would like to see it in left field and right, and maybe in center would be wood in the center.
Yeah.
And maybe instead of being, make it be a little higher, you know?
I'll show you what he's talking about.
Okay, yeah.
That's actually a great idea.
You know, just leave those open, that way the hitters see that background and that
Because
stuff
you're
like that.
exactly right. It's called the hitter's eye.
Okay.
I'll show you what we're
All
talking
right, I'm
about.
not a baseball guy, so I don't, you'll have to, I can't envision it.
I'll have you out there. I'll take you out there and hit you a fungo. let
We
you know.
get half and half, you still get the old school of having some wood out there in the center.
Yeah, it's actually a great idea. And you could get the best of both worlds right there.
Good.
Last thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I think this is the part where I discuss this, a couple of new White Fleet maintenance vehicles, especially 2 of them that we currently have. They're 11 elbows, they're 20 years old and 250,000 miles. They're in the mechanic shop more than they're on the road. So I've reached out to a vendor who is on my board and got some pricing for some new vehicles, one of which is a van for all our HVAC needs, and we tried to go for a 3/4 ton truck, similar to what we have, but the 3/4s are not available. He bumped us up for $1,000 to a 1 ton. It's already got all the utility beds on it. By the way, the van already has the HVAC package, which is ladder racks, all the shelving and stuff. And primarily wanted the van because it has more interior cargo space. You keep products and things out of the weather, whereas the truck's just not equipped really for that. Because of the price on it, I wanted to come to you guys and see what you thought of it. Do we have?
I think I've already shared that with y'all.
Okay, I was 62 for the truck, and I think 58 for the van. We really need them because we're at the point now that sometimes we're having to double up, and so repairs and progress is a little slow because we don't have that 3rd and 4th truck on the street for somebody to go take care of things. I really think we need them.
Yeah.
I mean, and it also ties up the bus mechanic. Now he's got 3 buses waiting that he's got to get fixed, but at the same time, he's trying to fix our truck so that we can come unclog the toilet or,
So, given the amount of that, that takes us, it's one. we can do it, but because it's on the buy board, but we still want your approval because it's over those amounts. And so what we're looking for is, he's got those things, they're ready. If they're still there, we'd like to go get them and then bring that finance piece back to you at the next board meeting.
We'll definitely look at, I think we're gonna talk about something else later, and we'll talk to Mr. Galloway about that, but I think the board is in agreement that we should do something like that.
And for the record, I reached out to several other folks, one of which was Leo Martin over here in Lake Jackson. They couldn't get them, they're still on back order. And Gulf Coast Ford, but they're not mile board. So that would be a whole bidding process, and y'all know how that stuff works.
Let me just say this, I have one that's been on order since October of last year at Leo Martin for us at the phone company. And whenever Mr. Galloway said you found some, I was shocked, because I've called, we usually use Chevrolets, these are Fords, which I have no problem with the Ford. And so I was just shocked that you could even find them, because it's hard to find that right now.
That's a general consensus.
Every dealership I talk to, you know, they're producing what's making them the most money, and service vehicles is not what makes them the most money. And so time is of the essence as far as I'm concerned, so.
And they're not gonna get any cheaper.
No. And the prices were good compared to what we pay at the phone company, so I thought they were very reasonable. It's a lot of money, but in today's world, that's where we're at.
What's cheap anymore, dirty looks is about it.
The only question I had, so Wild Peach broke was that the line coming from the well to the school? Correct? And we had.
Yeah, that's a 4-inch PVC line that runs underground all the way from back there at the back at the water well, basically up the street, kind of cuts the corner over to the campus, and through that corner, that corner cut rather, it tees off and has to fill that big emergency water tank. Where that tee shortly afterwards is where it broke.
You think it's just from the dry summer, the ground shifted type situation?
It was, because when we got down to it, the 90 is actually separated from the pipe. So we had to completely drain everything, get it glued back, wait for it to dry, fill it, make sure there's no leaks, and then cover the hole back up.
I was so happy when I heard it was PVC, because I just knew it was going to be galvanized. That was rusting out though.
No, luckily, it's, for the most part, everything is underground anyway, it's PVC, to our knowledge. We haven't found anything that is not.
Good. Thank you for your quick repair of that.
Tried.
You did a good job. Thank you for all that you and your department do.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen.
I'll let them know.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so we'll get in the morning about.
Just an update on Wild Peach, any update on our cover and awning, heard anything?
Not yet. I've reached out a couple of times. I know he's got a lot of other projects going on, and not making excuses for him, but he just hasn't had time to answer my questions.
Okay, that's fine.
Biggest problem is it's hard to catch him on the phone, so I have to shoot him a text message, and sometimes it's a couple of days before he responds.
No problem.
Only thing else I have to add on sports service is transportation. So I put some information in the last letter. Good news, last board meeting we had an additional mechanic, and they've gone to work. So as of right now, 28 of 29 of our buses are road ready.
Oh, nice.
So all of those things, they've been able to address them and repair them. We're good. That means the only bus that we don't have that can go on the road is the one that the tree fell on. So
that's in the shop, right?
That's in the shop. So we've gone from in bad shape to good shape. So we're sitting solid right now. But I know we need to talk about a plan to get a few.
To start rotating some out, for sure.
Good news is Ray did tell me that he got some information of possibly some grants being released in December, and that might identify propane. So given that we do have propane buses, that we could add 1 or 2 propane and still for local routes to run our regular bus route, and we would be okay with that. That would help. So if we wanted to do that. So he said he should know that mid-December.
Yeah. That concerns me a little bit. I have to get a pretty good grant on that, in my opinion, because he really wants to phase those out. So I need to get more.
I agree.
I'm with you, Ray. Unless it's 80% or something, I think we'll look at tackling ourselves.
Yeah, I got you. Other than that, that's all we got for you as far as
Good. Thanks.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too. Take care, sir. Safety and security.
So just not a whole lot new in the safety world, just some updates on some of the things that we've spent money on. Me and Justin met with the shatter resistance film people. They're on track to begin work the start of December. They're thinking that the scope of the work's going to be about a month to a month and a half. The idea is they're going to start here in West Columbia, do the admin, high school, WCE, and then work their way down to junior high, Wild Beach. Technology, Shane's been working with our silent panic alert technology with Datavox and Gentech to customize it for our needs. We're expecting the live date for January. Right now they're just tying in the doors and identifying the doors, the cameras that will go live anytime those buttons press. As far as things that you agreed to pay for us, the stop the bleed stations have all been mounted in all the elementary campuses, to the best of my knowledge, correct? Those are all in and been mounted. We've got a couple extra that we're looking to put possibly in other spots. The radios have been ordered. We have not received them yet. Chief, I don't think they've given us a time frame yet, correct?
Right, that's correct.
Okay. Campus maps, they are in progress. They'll be making an insight visit here pretty quickly so that we can get those done. I talked to Ray this morning and asked him about the Explorer, the update on that. It has been ordered, been purchased, and his quote was, "It's expected in the first quarter of 2024." And then we're expecting to get it in. So he seems pretty optimistic that it's going to be January, and he wasn't willing to wager on that. So. I know the junior high and high school have their e-haul pass up and running. So thank y'all for the things that y'all supplied us with. Some are in, some have been ordered, and hopefully we'll get that all. And then I know the last thing on that list is the bullhorns. They came out actually and said, hey, instead of replacing them, let us try to fix them first. So a $20,000 bid might be significantly less. So we're going to look at trying to fix them first.
The company you're talking about is trying to. Okay. We're not trying to fix them ourselves.
Correct, yeah. The companies, everybody's busy, and so we finally got someone out, and they were like, instead of let us try to fix them. So we're going to see what they can do, and then if we can get them fixed, we're going to look where the holes are and then fill in the holes. And hopefully we can do it for quite a bit less than what we budgeted for that. So, student health-wise, still no COVID's been pretty. We haven't had any new cases in the last several weeks. Of course, you all are all aware flu has picked up. It's just that time of the year, and we're going through it. Last but not least, for me on my end, we do have our fall safety and security meeting, which will be the Wednesday after we get back from Christmas Thanksgiving break. I'd love for you to be there to participate. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief. You have anything you'd like to add?
I think what I have on the report, covered at K9 come out towards the end of October. Again, we did the high school, checked the parking lot a little bit, went to junior high. Nothing significant was found, or actually nothing was found. As far as the police reports, we did have 4 reports for the month. I've been working with IT in West Columbia, Missouri PD on the camera systems. They've been down, and they come back up. They've been down for the last couple of weeks. I talked to Josh today, this afternoon, they did get their cameras up and running. Because they had to call their vendor to come in on the computers, whatever the bug that got fixed. So both agencies' camera systems back up. That's all I have.
Two more real quick things I just want to give kudos to is Mr. Kenny and the high school staff on a day when we had to get out early because of a water pipe. He did house them out at Briggs Field and worked on his reunification. Parent reunification processes in the event we have to do that. So something we don't really get a chance to practice. That was a great opportunity, and actually that was Mr. Galloway said we should take about to the jail work on reunification. So that's something that's hard to simulate, and so they got to work on that, which is good. Hopefully we never have to use it. Then lastly, with the incident that happened at Brazos Court the other day, I know Chief went down and had a meeting. They had an after incident meeting with all the law enforcement. And they were able to identify some things that we can possibly do in the future to help them in the event we should have to have something like that. Some things to help facilitate the process.
Just one of the things I was talking to Mr. Champagne actually sent me a text message about 1:30 in the afternoon and said, "Hey, have you heard anything?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I got home, I walked in the door and I sat down got me a drink and sat down on the couch, and my wife goes, "Man, what happened, bro? You see what happened right before today?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She read it to me, so I sent him a text message about 5 and said, "Well, my wife knows." But long story short, one of the things that was different about this situation is it was reported as an active shooter. It was kind of a different situation, and so, when it's active shooter, I think it takes on its own life, and more people are worried about getting there and taking care of it than they are notifying other people. So that's what happened in that situation with notification. So, but Chief did learn. We've sat down and talked of some things of how that was handled, positive things that we can add to our plan to actually help. And so
I guess. And I've run over some of the high school administration staff, kind of like, what would you do in that situation?
Right.
But like Mr. Galloway said, it's good training material.
Yeah.
But, we don't think they'll make more on y'all's end, or, education side, think of what would you do in that situation?
But a thank you to CBISD for being open to sit down and talk and help everybody with that. And
so they put a new system in place of it too, right? 'Cause I've seen a lot of reports of like school lockdowns that were done like not by mistake, but kind of like 3 in 1 week or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of parents were a little upset about that, but I mean, your kids are all safe. I don't know what everybody's upset about.
One of the things we talked about, and I got a phone call asking, I said, I haven't heard anything. So of course I reached out, got on the Brassport channel, realized something was going on. The minute I started hearing the communication, knew everything's under control. And that was one of the issues when we all met up. We're going to be meeting up again. And next week, on the 6th at the Sheriff's Department, with all the department heads in all of Missouri County, whether the school chiefs or city chiefs or the sheriff or DPS, the Rangers were there, is, of course, BISD, Brassport guys and the school district knew what was going on. Clute knew what was going on, and then they dispatched Lake Jackson, but nobody else knew what was going on. So we're trying to set up a system where something happens in our school, because I don't monitor their channels, they're not monitoring our channels, is send out a mass, like some kind of messaging to all the department heads, hey, this is what's going on over here, so we can reach out. And I can, if it's at a school, like Mr. Galloway said, I didn't know. If I would have known, I could have let him know. Hey, something's going on at this school here, just giving you a heads up in case your phone starts blowing up. So there's going to be continuous meetings and stuff, and how to disseminate all this information. Coordinate with all agencies.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Instructional report. All right, first up is Mr. Miller. He's wants to talk to you about our nursing program.
So real quick, the nursing program, first of all, she's very excited about the facility that y'all have allowed her, well, she will eventually get, but she put together a growth plan for the health science department. So in your packet, you'll see a little flow chart here, as well as a consent form. I'll get to the consent form real quick. You'll see this is her plan for growth for the CHS Health Department. So where are we at the present time? So currently, our students are doing the patient care technician assistant certification, which is the CPCT/A. It's what we've been doing for the past few years. It's what we're still doing it now. They do instruction in the classroom. They go to Sweeney Community Hospital where they do their rounds. And then at the end of the day, they sit for their certification and pass, and then they move on, hopefully, and are able to go out and get a job as a patient care technician, and hopefully go to Brassport College and continue in the nursing program, or go to a 4-year university and earn their bachelor's, et cetera, et cetera. The things that they've discovered is some of them get done a lot earlier than the others. And in the past, when Ms. Swinsko started our program many moons ago, we had other things that we did when we did the CNA program at that time, which was the Certified Nurse's Assistant, was we also did the pharmaceutical and we did phlebotomy. And we were, years ago, the board had approved those programs to be done. She wants to bring the phlebotomy back, which for those of you that don't know, phlebotomy is essentially drawing blood and those types of things. She would like to start doing that again this year because she has a very motivated group of students that are wanting to do that. And she has the materials and the things in place to do that. She'll need a couple things which are not a big expense that can be paid for out of her CTE budget. So you'll see at 23, 24, she wants to start that up starting next year. She wants to have an optional third certification for her kids, and that's the EKG technician certification. And they used to do EKGs when Miss Winsko was there, because I remember I used to be the guinea pig for them. But again, that's one of those things that faded away. And then last but not least, with the addition of the extra classroom in the new building and the program growth, the additional teacher, possibly doing more clinicals, having more clinical courses, she'd like to do the clinical medical assistant certification for 25, 26 and beyond. So that's just a real quick update on growth at the health science and what her vision is for that program. The last thing I have in front of you is the phlebotomy consent form that she's going to send out to all her people that are involved. Essentially, it defines what phlebotomy is, why you do it, the benefits of it. You do understand that does involve needles and disposal of such and all the care that goes involved into it. We do have, our instructor is an RN, capable of teaching that material to them. There is some responsibility and accountability that goes with that, but it is taught in a professional environment, and of course, there are consequences for those that don't choose to do it in a professional way. So, as I said, it's something we've done before. We're just looking to bring it back, provide more opportunities for our students when they graduate for job opportunities.
Are we already set up to collect the needles and dispose of the needles and that kind of stuff?
All of our nurses have hazard bins already, just a matter of putting it in place. We'll get that set up in her individual classroom as far as being able to collect it and then setting up a time frame with our contractor to come pick up the disposable waste. And the majority of that will also be done at the clinical site too. They will do some here on campus, but a lot of it will be done in rotation, on rotations and stuff, so.
Oh, okay.
The boxes are free. The service that picks them up usually gives you the boxes.
Right, correct.
Because they give you one and you
Yes, ma'am.
take one, so you just pay for one.
Right.
It's not a big deal.
So do we need to
There's nothing to
say anything? I mean,
No.
I support them doing the phlebotomy thing if they're able to do it. Matt, I mean, I think.
I wanted you know what's happening. I wanted to let you know, so you don't get blindsided by saying, hey, I hear they're sticking people up. Because that's how you hear it. I mean, we know that's how it'll happen, so.
So can we put in the handbook next year that if you go to DAP, you have to go get stuck and built-in guinea pigs or something, you know?
Good. All right, next thing we have for you, there's a colorful score sheet. Looks like this. What we're going to do is talk to you about some ratings we have for our campuses in our district. But first, let me kind of take you through the political landscape of what's happened here. Last year, at this time, we were talking to you about the test is changing and the scores are going to look different. The thing that's carried the district for a long time as far as the district in the high school has been our CCMR, College and Career Readiness, and how that works. And by the way, they're changing all that. They're changing the goalposts. And the way the CCMR works is that the data is actually at least a year behind, if not two. And when you change it and say, hey, we're changing it with this year, you have to understand you've already done that stuff, right? So they're grading you, they're changing the rules and grading you on something you had no idea that was happening. So we were looking for scores. We told you scores were probably not going to be out until, October-ish. They're not going to be out in the summer like normal. Because the testing changed and the way they were looking at growth, and remember the growth model's big. They're changing the points on all that kind of stuff. That it's going to change the way our districts look. And so one of the things that was published was a what if. So they took last year's results and said, if we had applied this is what your schools would look like and so forth. And so we've been in that corrective action mode, getting ready. So here comes this year and it's like, well, we're going to release the scores in September, and then we're not going to release the scores in September. We're not ready because when they ran it, they didn't like
what it looked like because, quote, too many schools fell too low. So we need to look at it. What we had established as our points weren't good. And so nothing was released. And so they went back to the drawing board and were getting ready to release that information to us. And at that time, there was a lawsuit filed. And what has happened is the judge basically put in an injunction into the accountability systems that TA was not allowed to release it because there isn't what's called an accountability handbook. And long story short, there are legislative rules that say when that handbook has to be released to the schools, and they did not meet that date because it was still in draft form. And at the end of the day, that's what's going on. So that is scheduled to be heard. As of right now, what's happened is they've actually reached an agreement that, the judge, the districts that have filed the lawsuit, of which Chris Gilbert, our attorney, is one of the attorneys in that, asked the judge to ask that the ratings as is right now stay confidential. So if you log into our till system, the scores that you have before you are not allowed for public release. These are confidential that we're giving you, that we're going to talk about tonight, but we're not releasing those because Chris Gilbert and I said, like you said, the judge has said that that's not going to happen. So what you have is you're going to have a hearing of whether that's right or wrong and what we go about. But you also have special session number 4 that's going on, and I've shared some of that information with you. What's known as House Bill 1, which I shared the information that passed out at House Education Committee earlier this week, is scheduled for a hearing on the 17th, which I believe is Friday. Part of House Bill 1 is that the accountability gets locked in through 2027, meaning they can't change it. We have to go back to the rules we played under last year, especially when it comes to the growth models. That growth model was established in 2019, that would stay in effect till 2027. And then what would happen is that in 2027, there would be a new testing system of some type to come about, and that also that TEA and the testing part of accountability in the state of Texas would fall under sunset because TEA falls under sunset that year. So long story short, it's going to get interesting here in the next few months of what's going on. So anyway, we're going to share some stuff to you. Sam's going to do her best to explain it to you, but at the end of the day, it may be right, it may be wrong. But we'll go with that. So Sam, you want to take over?
Sure. That paper really speaks for itself. You have your domain 1, which is student achievement, your domain 2, A and B, which you take the better of the 3, and that's 70% of your grade. And then the yellow color is your domain 3, which is closing the gaps that meet your federal standards. So, and that's 30% of the grade. So if you go all the way over to the right, that is what our current manual that was released at the end of October says is how we would be rated. So the first one is our district, we would be a C. Then the high school would be a C. Junior high would be a C. West Columbia would be a B. They improved. If you look at theirs, it was last year they were a 78, and this year they're an 82, so they went up 4. So I think you met your goal, right?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
And then Barrow would be a C. So that's how you look at the chart. All the rest of it's just their point system.
Is this system based off last year's or the new stuff?
The very right column is this year's.
Is it based off of the new standards or the old standards?
Yes, it is
So if
the accountability handbook that was released October of this year.
Which is a draft.
No,
So
It's a final. Okay, it's a final, but it was released after the date.
Correct.
Yes.
And it has the changes in it, yes.
But if they went back to the old rules, this would be a different grade.
These would be different.
That's correct. Okay. This is worst case scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to call it.
Because they go back to the other, then we get more credit for the CT and stuff, CCR, whatever in high school.
And
If they change their.
And for the growth models, you would change, you see a change in the growth as well.
Yes.
So how does all of this stuff affect Barrow and what we're in with them?
We don't know that yet.
We gotta file a lawsuit for them.
Yeah, the last time that, worst case scenario, Barrow gets out. So that's the way you look at it.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, Barrow's high enough to get out.
Okay.
Right, so that's it. But we don't know because it's on pause right now. The last time that there was a pause during COVID, right, they gave a number and said, if you meet this number, you get out, and we were just right underneath the door. But it didn't calculate into something that made sense, right? Because it should have come up on that year. Yeah. And so the question is, we think we know, but.
So if they don't release anything, is there still a chance that Barrow can get out?
Yeah.
I thought it was something else.
Should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be punished because they don't do
Right,
something.
there normally is. Right.
Kind of embarrassing.
And so right now, there is no punishment. So, but there's oversights and there's reports that they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
One would think that they would
Yeah.
take that into consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Got all instructional?
That's it.
Financial report?
You have anything, Julie? First report's next month?
First report's next month, and we had 100% on it, so it'll just be going through the steps. And we're pretty much on budget, we're 33% through, and the main thing I worry about is payroll, and we're at 30.75%, so we're good.
ACT, SAT report?
We're good. Jody, you have that? Jeff, Ms. Bailey, how we? Ms. Bailey?
All right, so the SAT ACT report is just a snapshot of how the high school performed this past year on the SAT ACT, which are just the standardized tests typically used for college admission. The SAT report, we had 111 students that took the SAT last school year, compared to 65 students the previous school year. So our numbers are on the rise. You did see that drop off significantly there in 2019 and 2020 after COVID, because a lot of the schools were not requiring it for admission. That is still the case. Most of them are not requiring it for admission. However, if students are wanting to participate in certain types of college degree plans or scholarships, they still need to take the test. The ACT, we typically don't have very many students that take the ACT just because it's not readily available in our local area. They would have to travel to Houston and other places to be able to take that. But we did have 6 students that did take it last year. So I just gave you that little rundown that most of the colleges are not requiring it for admissions, but we do have students that use it for scholarships. So this chart shows you how our school compared to the state and to all testers. So our school for the SAT for reading and writing, our students were averaging about 488. The state average was 490. So we're pretty much on par with the state, maybe just a little below. All testers, the average was 509. And for math, our students are averaging 459 on the math score, and the state average was 474. So we are a little bit below the state there on that average. On ACT, the average mean score for our students, the 6 that took it, their average score was 19.5 on the composite. The state average is 19.3. So on ACT, we're just a hair above what the state average is. So this just kind of tells you a little bit about how our students get information on that. The SAT test is given based on College Board's testing schedule. For us, we just administered our last paper pencil test for SAT in October. So everything will go digital. And so now the students, I'm hoping that maybe we will have more students that will be able to participate because it's going digital, because now we'll have a testing window instead of a specific, it's this date or no date. So TSI is the college placement exam that we administer. That's administered monthly on our campus. We do give the PSAT, which is in essence a practice SAT test for students that are in 9th through 11th grade. We have given the 11th grade PSAT, which is also the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. It's the alphabet test. We did give that to 59 students back at the beginning of the school year, and we also gave it to the 9th graders. We had 76 9th graders that took the PSAT as well. ASVAB is offered twice this year. We usually offer it at least once a year, but we are offering it December the 1st. It did get rescheduled from a November date to December the 1st because the military comes and administers that test for us, and they were overbooked for the date that we had requested. So they're coming December 1st, and then they'll offer it again on February the 6th for us. So our students get the information through QR codes that we post throughout the school. They can come see me, they can come see the counselors. We do post on Facebook and other social media outlets for our parents to be aware of that as well. And each of the classes at the school, the counselors have created Google Classrooms for them where they push out information to the students that are in those graduating cohorts for testing. Any questions?
So we still do SAT testing on campus?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We do school day in October, and then we'll do it again in the spring. And then we also are a testing site for Saturday tests as well.
And we do pay for a school day test.
Yes.
The district covers that cost. Seniors can test in the fall and juniors test in the spring free of charge. And I believe we paid for NSBT this year.
We did, and we did have 6 students that scored above the threshold for it to be considered. I don't know, they haven't come out with the final cut, but for a National Merit Scholar.
Neat.
So you said the digital now will provide a window?
Yes, ma'am.
Will they still come to the school to take the test or just have?
Yes, ma'am, they'll take it and it'll all be online, internet-based at school. But they won't be designated to a specific day.
Kind of parallel to STAR testing, when digital STAR used to be math test is on this Tuesday, and now we have a window that we can reach to that test. So if they miss that day, they can still take it on the makeup side.
So that helps us in the spring because when we have students that are out for sports or for all of the many things that they're involved in the spring, if they are not available on the day that College Board says the test is being given, then they're basically out of luck. They have to take it on a Saturday. But now that we have a window, we can test them on days when they're available.
That's good.
Good. Anything else?
That's it.
Bond 22 report, I guess we did all that with
I would hope we're done.
Well, good. We'll move to the action item. The first is to consider the approval of the board resolution concerning chaplains under SB 763.
I shared this information with you at the board meeting last week. I would suggest that we choose option 1, which permits a district campus to employ or accept as a volunteer a chaplain to provide support services and programs for students, and adopts the following addition to policy DP local, which in accordance with law, the board authorizes a campus to employ or accept as a volunteer chaplain. And that's more or less what we're doing now. We have chaplains on campus all the time, and clergy on campus all the time.
So the A chaplain does not limit us, right?
That's correct.
Okay. That's my only
That is
concern.
correct.
As long as we didn't have to just do one,
Right. Yeah.
that's good.
But what this means is technically, if we wanted to, in place of a counselor, if we wanted to hire a chaplain up into full-time, we could.
Okay.
Okay, or we can continue in the way we're currently doing it. Okay. So I would suggest you choose option one.
Okay. Any questions or comments? I make a motion, we approve the draft resolution and choose option one.
I'll second it.
Second by Linda, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
And just for clarification, you had a speaker at last month's board meeting. This is what she was asking you to do. You just made it what she was asking you to do.
Okay, good. Next is to cast votes for Director of Missouri County School District.
All right, so, we had a lot of conversation about that, so the final ballot is out. And so, there were questions, and we were already too late to add names for this year. I will tell you, you can see that we have 103 votes that can be cast by CBISD. They have to be cast by, and we have to turn them in by December the 15th. So you'll be able to see a names tonight, but if you want to do some research on the candidates, you're more than welcome to, and you can table it, and we can do it at the December meeting, because our December meeting, I think, is on the 12th. So we do have plenty of time if you want to wait. But the names are Douglas Chumley, Carla Clark, Gary Dickey, Brenda Dillon, David Galloway, no relation, Eric Hayes, Derek Aber, Alan Higginbotham, Glenn Jones, Tommy King, Heather Martin, Patrick O'Day, Gail Robinson, George Sanders, and Susan Spohr. I know two of the names. I know Susan Spohr, she's been on the appraisal board for a while, lives in Angleton. And then number 10 is Tommy King. Tommy is a former central administrator in Alvin ISD, and his name is actually on the administration building in Alvin ISD.
Is he currently on the board, do you know?
I don't think he's current. I think he's, so many years ago when we did this, the Missouri County School Districts would get together and we would identify people and we would talk, because anybody can vote for anybody, and we wanted to make sure the people we wanted got a certain number of votes.
Right.
We used to do that. Tommy King was the guy that put that together. And so nobody's done it since Tommy retired. Yeah.
I would like to wait and try to find out if it's all right with y'all.
Right.
We pretty much all know Patrick O'Day.
You do?
I don't know if you know him, he's from Pearland, they do building services.
Yeah, water well services.
Water well services.
Is he on the
Super.
board now?
No.
Okay.
Super nice guy. I played golf with him in a tournament several years ago with the family, but.
Well, if y'all know people, that's good.
That would be my vote.
That would be my vote too.
Yeah, because the guy that's, technically, if we had a representative, that body's not on there this year.
Notice that.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about casting all of those to Patrick O'Day.
I'm good with that. If y'all know him, I'm good with that.
I agree.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as we know somebody, I don't
Yeah.
know nothing about any of them.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And if we're gonna get stabbed on Facebook, I'd like to know something about it.
Tommy King was different Tommy King.
We don't do a grass farm, people out of Wild Peak.
Yeah.
From them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to assume, I didn't know there was another Tommy King, but the name spelled the same. So.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, probably isn't.
But if that's the Tommy King from Alvin, everybody on that way will vote for him. Yeah. So I'm for it.
Well, I reached out and my sources have not gotten back with me, and so, too late. Sorry.
I make a motion, we cast our votes for Patrick O'Day.
I'll second it.
Right. Okay.
One of those two?
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Next is the action items, consent agenda. Would anybody like any of those pulled as far as budget amendment donations, board policy update, or property held in trust? If not, I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Anything else for open? No. We will adjourn to closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, the Open Meeting Act, Section 551.074, to consider the employment of professional personnel, discuss the resignation, retirement of professional personnel, discuss the performance of personnel, conduct the board self-evaluation, discussion of district-wide intruder detection audit report findings. We'll reconvene and open and consider action on items discussed in closed session. Thank you all very much.